All right, we're going to have two videos today. The first video is going to be just the MDIs and bell ringers because we have quite a bit to make up. Then the second video will be the lesson. So go ahead. This should be day one, and this should be written on Wednesday. So on your MDI sheet, day one should be written on Wednesday. And we're going to learn today about distributive property. This was also the warm-up for yesterday, where we had an equation, we had these parentheses, and a number on the outside. So if you remember, if it's distributive property, we need to do what's called distribution, which means I need to take this 3 and distribute it to whatever's in the parentheses. So in this case, I'm going to distribute the 3 to the 2 and distribute the 3 to the x. So if you remember from previous days, when I distribute, it means multiply. So I take 3 times 2, which gives me 6, 3 times x, which gives me 3x. And then I look at the sign in the middle. In this case, I have a plus sign in the middle, so that just comes down. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times x is 3x. Then the plus sign comes down. All right, go ahead, pause the video, and solve number 2. All right, so hopefully your first step, you drew the arrows, 6 to 4x and 6 to 3y. Then remember, the arrows mean multiply. So I take 6 times 4, which is 24. Then I have to keep the x. Then 6 times the 3, which is 18. And I have to keep the y. And then if you look, there's a plus sign in the middle, so that stays in the middle. So I have 24x plus 18y. Go ahead, pause the video, make sure you have that down correct. All right. Now, make sure you write day 2 on Thursday. Day 2 should be on Thursday. And again, these are distributive property problems, so make sure you pause the video and go ahead and solve number 1. All right. So hopefully remember to draw your lines or your arrows. So 4 goes to y and 4 goes to z. So the arrows again mean multiply. So 4 times y is 4y. 4 times z is 4z. And then in the middle, you notice I have a plus sign. So 4y plus 4z. All right, once again, pause the video and go ahead and solve number 2. All right, so again, your first step should have been drawing arrows. So 5 goes to 2x and 5 goes to y. So remember the arrows mean multiply. So 5 times 2 is 10x. 5 times y is 5y because I have to keep the letters. Then again, I have a plus sign in the middle, so I keep the plus sign. 10x plus 5y. Go ahead, pause it, make sure you have those correct, and then get out your bell ringers. All right, so stay caught up. We actually have to do all 3 days of bell ringers in this video. So make sure you're frequently pausing the video and making sure you have all this down. So the first thing we have to do is find the mean. Remember, the mean is the average, and we find it by adding up all the numbers and dividing by how many numbers we have. So right now, pause the video and go ahead, add up the numbers for number 1. All right, when you added up the numbers, we should have got 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 4 is 13, plus 3 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then our second step is dividing by how many numbers we have. So in this case, we have 7 numbers. So I want to take 21 divided by 7. It might mean there's 3. All right, pause the video and find the mean for number 2. All right, so adding these numbers up, you got negative 15 divided by how many numbers there were, which is 3. And negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Now we need to find the mode. If you remember our little cheating way to find the mode, is mode sounds like the word most, and that's what it means. Which number occurs the most? Well, if you look at number one, sorry, I have two twos, and I also have two fours. And because those occur the most, my mode is 2 and 4. All right, what do you think is the mode for number 2? Correct. The mode is -3 because there's two -3s. That's what occurs the most. All right, number 3, write 8 thousandths. Well, there's a key word here. We see that how thousands ends with a THS. Anytime it ends with a THS, that means a decimal. So 8 thousandths means all my numbers are going to be after the decimal. So let's do a quick review over here. Remember, I have tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. So if you notice on thousandths, it's 1, 2, it's 3 decimal places away. So I start with my decimal, 1, 2, 3, and it says 8. It's only 8. So I want to put the letter 8. So what do I fill in those empty spots? Correct. I want to put zeros in there. So my decimal is 0.008. All right, number 4, write and read the decimal 33.05 using place values and words. So the strategy I like to use on this is say the first number out loud. So what is the first number? Correct. It is 33. Now remember, decimals we always say with the word and then I like to say the second number. So the second number is not 0.5, it is just 5. And then you count the place values. So if I come over here at my decimal, I go over twice. So I look over here. I start the decimal, I go over twice. I am under hundredths. So my answer is 33 and 5 hundredths. And number 5, our strategy from yesterday, remember, I want to make sure they all have the same number of digits. So 3 digits, 3 digits, 3 digits. So I can add zeros here and a 0 here. Now let's read my numbers. I have 410 and 414. What number goes between those? Well, I know it's going to be 412 because it goes 410, 411, 412, 413, 414. All right, make sure you have the video paused and those answered. Then we're going to go to Wednesday's bell ringer. All right, so the first thing we do is find the mean. Remember, the mean is the average. We add up all the numbers and divide by how many there are. So go ahead, pause the video, find the mean for number 1 and number 2. All right, so we should have got 25 divided by 5, and our mean is 5. Then for number 2, we should have had -20 divided by 5 for a mean of -4. Then go ahead, find your mode for 1 and 2. Remember, mode means the most. So what numbers occur the most? So pause the video and answer that. All right, so number 1, if you look, 71845, no number occurs more than once. So there's actually no mode. Then for number 2, you'll notice -3 and -6 both occur twice. So those are both the mode. Number 3, write 214 thousandths as a decimal. All right, pause the video and answer that. All right, so based on our number chart, we know thousandths is the third one because it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So I need 3 numbers. Then it says 214. Well, let's try it. 214 fits perfect in there. So that's my number. Decimal 214, and that would be 214 thousandths. Right? Number 4, write 106.25 using words. So using the strategy we just did for the other problem, see if you can write that out using words. All right, so using our strategy, remember we say the first number out loud, 106. And a reminder, decimals are said by and then my second number, 25. And then the question comes 25 once. 25 once. So remember our place values. We start the decimal, tenths, hundredths. Because this is only going over 2 place values, we know it's 25 hundredths. Right, then number 5, remember our trick. We want to make sure they all have the same number of digits, so we should have 3 after the decimal. Then pause the video and see if you can figure out which one falls between 26 and 29. All right, hopefully you picked C because it would go 26, 27, 28, and then 29. All right, again, make sure you have all those correct. I'm going to jump straight to Thursday. All right, go ahead, pause the video, find the mean for number 1 and number 2. All right, so remember the mean, we add them all up and divide by how many there are. So we should have got 30 for the top, divided by 5 because there's 5 numbers. So my mean is 6. And number 2, once again, you add them all up. We get negative 30 divided by 5 for a mean of negative 6. All right, then go ahead, find the mode. Remember, the mode means the most. They sound the same, right? So go ahead, find the mode for 1 and 2. Pause the video. All right, number 1, if you look, all the numbers, 0, 10, 9, 6, 5, they all only occur once. So there's no mode. And number 2, negative 11, negative 4, negative 5, negative 3, negative 7, they all only occur once. So once again, there's no mode. And number 3, write 7 and 35 hundredths as a decimal. All right, so I have 2 keywords in here. I see the word and hundredths. So go ahead, pause the video, see if you can write that out as a decimal. All right, so my first keyword was the word and, so I know and is a decimal. And before and, I have 7, so 7 goes in front. And then 35 hundredths. So if I remember, I start the decimal, it goes tenths, hundredths, so I need 2 digits. Well, 35 is 2 digits, so that can fit right in there. So 7 and 35 hundredths. All right, number 4, read 4.993 as a word or using words. So go ahead, pause the video and see if you can answer that. All right, so remember, we always start by saying our first number out loud, which is 4. Our decimals are always said by and then say the next number out loud. So my next number is 993. And then what? How many digits do I have? If you look at my decimal, I go over 1, 2, 3 times. So I go tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 3 times over is thousandths. So 4 and 993 Oops, I typed that way wrong. Thousandths. All right, and number 5, which decimal falls between 181 10,000ths and 185 10,000ths? So if you look, these all have 4 digits after the decimal. So once again, I want to make sure they each have 4 digits to make it a little bit easier. And then I have 181, 185. So quickly, which one falls between them? Correct, 183. All right, go ahead, pause the video. So our warm-ups and bell ringers should all be completed for today.